MLK Day for me, as I think about it as a child, was always very important. My parents were both public servants. My father, very much part of the civil rights movement during King's time, a founder and supporter of a lot of the early African-American civil rights organizations and movements. So as a child watching that, I understood very clearly what was going on and how privileged I was to be living in a time where progress was happening. But I was also very clear that the rights for my people were the ones that were being the most challenged. And so MLK Day for me, going to school in LA Unified, going to a predominantly white school. My mother was a principal at an inner city school, but really felt the importance of integration and me having the best possible education. But in that, I would call myself a little bit of a pioneer. I'm no Ruby Bridges, but certainly was in an environment with people that didn't look like me. And so to be sitting in that environment as a second grader and having a day that was dedicated to MLK and feeling really special that day because I was part of his legacy and he was part of my ancestry, right, made me feel very special. And now as an adult and able to really impart that on my children, because while MLK has changed, I think the relevance is still existent. Crystal Stairs is my life's work defined, but I didn't know it. I think that as we're all growing up, as we're going to college, I have a college daughter and a high school daughter, and I'm certain in their minds they want to do just exactly what I'm not doing, right? And I think that's the same way I felt. My mother was a principal, she retired principal, dedicated over 50 years to LA Unified, and I think the next generation always thinks it wants to do something bigger and better. And yet I find myself sitting here in my career, and I'm really doing exactly what my parents designed me to do. So when I look up now, there's this picture. My father was one of the first African-American LA County Fire Commissioners. And if you look at the picture, all the people on the commission are looking at the flag, and my father is looking at me. And I hated that picture. Like, it's so off. I'm in gauchos and it's plaid, right? But he passed away, and all of a sudden that picture had an entirely different relevance to me because it was this legacy passing. It was to talk about MLK's dream. It was my father's dream, for the future and what I would be able to do in terms of living on not just his legacy, but I think the legacy of the activist at his time, which we're trying to continue to move things forward for the least of us.